set of hypnotherapy diploma students will attest. Last weekend's module included me teaching and talking about assertiveness training for clients, which is a wonderful therapeutic aid for clients with social anxiety, as well as many other applications as well. And it got me thinking majorly on a number of topics. In particular, some of the behaviours and attitudes that I see within the hypnotherapy field, and made me want to get on my soapbox a little bit today. In class, I talk about developing a healthy level of assertiveness. We have submissive at one end of the spectrum and domineering at the other end. And healthy assertiveness is in the middle. It's a balanced level of assertiveness, not here or there. When we talk about and teach, asking clients to develop their own kind of bill of rights. For example, Fritz Perls' quaint Gestalt therapy prayer can be particularly relevant to the kind of interpersonal problems that people face when they're learning kind of more assertive attitudes. If you're not aware of it, it's a real tonic with regards to the topic I'm speaking about today. I do my thing and you do your thing. I am not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you are not in this world to live up to mine. You are you and I am I. And if by chance we find each other, it's beautiful. If not, it can't be helped. And that was by Fritz Perls, 1969. As assertiveness training developed, it became increasingly common to emphasize the concept of specific rights as a way of kind of enhancing healthy assertiveness. And when we substitute the expression declaration of rights for bill of rights, as it's found in the assertiveness literature. Now, as it happens, some of the hypothetical declarations are not so far removed from the rights contained in the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, written in 1948, published in 1948. And an example would be, I have the right to hold my own opinions and make my own decisions, and so do you. I have the right to speak my mind and express my feelings without harming anyone, and so do you. I have the right to say no when I object to something, and so do you. I have the right to make mistakes and to learn from them, and so do you. I have the right to be assertive, and so do you, healthily assertive, and so do you. I have the right to express my disagreement, and so do you. I have the right to live my own life, and so do you. I have the right to be treated with respect, and so do you. And that's particularly important. I'm going to talk about that. I have the right to change my mind about things, and so do you. So these are just examples, and clients can be encouraged to create and then review such a declaration, such a bill of rights, and make changes periodically before reading it aloud to themselves, perhaps imagining a recent violation to their assertiveness whilst reading it. And if we look at the spectrum of assertiveness that I mentioned earlier, we can draw some parallels to hypnotherapists who are quite submissive at one end, and in particular submissive in response to some domineering trainers and so-called authorities from within the field of hypnosis. And one of the reasons that I tend to be so unpopular among some corners of the hypnotherapy field is that I assert myself in terms of some of the rights that I just mentioned earlier. I have the right to be assertive. I have the right to speak my mind and express my feelings without harming anyone. I have the right to express a disagreement, and also, I have the right to be treated with respect. It's your right to be able to ask questions of developers about their hypnotherapy protocols, or to ask questions of trainers about the topics they are teaching. It's your right to be able to ask about the evidence base for what it is that they are promoting. It's your right to ask some questions that they may consider to be difficult as you seek to understand and develop. And it's your right to have those questions be respected and for you to be treated with respect. Let's be honest. When you ask difficult questions of some of the best known trainers and creators of protocols, your rights, as I've outlined here already, are not always taken on board and often not respected. And it's not just the more submissive frontline hypnotherapists either. Each week, I get a snipe or two, or what I consider to be an ill-conceived comment about me, seeking empirical evidence and quality validation for the hypnotherapy field. I don't just ask individuals the difficult questions, I also ask hypnotherapy organizations and associations, and this entire field, some difficult questions sometimes. It's my right to do so, to assert myself, to disagree with some of the norms seemingly, and to be respected in return. A couple of weeks ago, a well-known trainer and hypnotherapist stated in a Facebook group that those of us seeking such evidence need to, and I'll quote, get over themselves, and that we were banging on. And the post was accompanied by several other swipes that were no more than guessing about the motivations of people such as myself seeking such validation. There were numerous other glaring errors and problems in this particular post, and plenty of ensuing sycophantic comments of agreement whereby no real thinking seemed to have been engaged in, just a kind of submissive following of quite a dominant appeal. And my own work is exponentially more than just seeking evidence and validation. I engage in research because I do seek it. Yet it seems to be the thing that many domineering people in this field want to jump on, and it ruffles so many feathers, and I don't get it. Surely being healthily scrutinized and being open to questions will advance what you do. Getting defensive and refusing to healthily engage with constructive criticism and answer questions does not permit for progression. I'm kind of getting sidetracked a little bit. You can go and watch my video on my Geek channel about hypnotherapists and trainers needing to take on board criticism effectively. It's my right to ask questions about the proven efficacy and evidence-based supporting protocols that have been created and that flood our field. It's my right as a member of this professional field to disagree with the stances of fellow professionals and trainers. It's my right to seek empirical validation as a means of advancing my professional field. It's my right to be able to healthily assert myself accordingly. And it is also my right to expect others to respect that. For decades, we've had great people doing great research with findings that can be utilized to advance our credibility of our field. Despite this, years later, hypnotherapists are now on the internet making cheap, vapid comments and snide remarks, seeking and potentially creating anti-intellectual populism. And this nails us into the dark recesses. It keeps us in the dark ages. I go on about that enough in other videos here on this channel. But just because someone is popular and just because someone is well known in this field, it shouldn't make them immune to healthy questions. It does not mean that you should turn submissive in response to them. It does not mean they get to be unquestionable and domineering as a result. I saw a tweet that really struck a chord with me last week by a man called James Melville. James Melville is his Twitter name. And he wrote on Twitter, I'll quote him, "Why do people who do not know what they are talking about refuse to listen to people who do know what they are talking about?" And it's a really simple thing. He was talking about the warnings given by business in the UK about a no-deal Brexit. However, I find that the biggest domineering forces who refuse to acknowledge and respect the rights of others in the hypnotherapy field are often those who are anti-science, anti-evidence, or those who get defensive if asked about the evidence base with regards to what they do, or who get defensive if someone asks good questions about what they say and what they teach. And they are often those who believe they know better than those who actually, I think, are sometimes far better qualified than them, to be honest. So as hypnotherapists, assert yourself effectively and healthily. Ask the questions, demand the respect that you deserve. Don't let anyone on a pedestal be domineering to you. It's your right to express yourself. And if that's not respected, don't necessarily argue. These people are not for shifting very often, which is a great shame. Move your attention elsewhere. Learn from others and let those domineering ones, let them wither. As a field, we must demand more from those at the top of this profession, those who have the loudest voices, those who have the most pronounced marketing messages, those with the most forthright opinions, and those who sneer at anyone who challenges them, those who put down others and insult, even when seemingly in jest. There is a seemingly crazy attitude that massively lacks the respect that is your right. That's it. Off my soapbox. Stand up for your rights when it comes to your own education, your continued professional development, and the development of this field. That's what we want. Do subscribe to this channel. Do go visit my college website for details of my online and classroom courses, as well as my vast online members area, which is heaven for real hypnosis geeks. Bye for now.